Hey there, Kevin here from Happy Coding, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is when you're watching this video. Thanks for being here. I think we're just going to dive right in today. Today I want to focus on a concept that is more towards the fundamental end of the spectrum, and that is using variables. Specifically, I'm going to use the width and height variables to make sure that my design works no matter what size canvas I'm using. And to sort of stretch those muscles, the example I'm going to go through today is I'm going to draw this kind of design in P5. I think I first saw this design in like 5th grade or something in like math class, where the math teacher was trying to demonstrate that you could draw straight lines. This is, I think, like 10 straight lines, and they combine into this kind of curved surface. I'm not sure if there's like mathematical properties or anything, but to me it just kind of looks cool. In case you can't kind of dissect it, it's a series of lines that are drawn from the sort of left axis here to the bottom axis here, and it's like a straight line from the top of this axis to sort of this very start of this axis, and then that pattern continues and creates this kind of effect. To me, it just kind of looks cool. It looks kind of like a trippy, kind of like 1980s futuristic computer display kind of thing. So that's why I like it. It's another one of those kind of doodles that just comes out of my hand every once in a while when I'm just kind of bored. Okay, so let's just dive right in. So I've got my P5 editor here, and here's our old friend, the gray canvas. And I'm going to start by maybe drawing that first line just to sort of orient myself in the coordinate space here. So 0, 0 is up here, and the variable width gives us the width of the canvas. In this case, that will store a value of 400. And then the variable height gives us the height of the canvas, again, in this case 400, but as we change these, the width and height variables will change accordingly. So what I want to do is draw a line from something like, well, 0 for my x coordinate, because it's going to start on this edge, and then something like height times 0.1, so that'll take me down to like here, maybe. And then I want to draw that line, the end point of that line will be down here somewhere, so it'll be something like width times 0.1 and a y value of height, because that's down here. So I'm just going to see what this looks like. I'm hoping to see a line that goes from here down to here. And I think that that's about right. I could maybe draw like the very first line, the like really vertical line, but I don't feel super strongly, and I can always add it later. So I'm gonna skip it. Yeah, so I'm gonna keep trucking with this pattern. So I think I'm gonna go from 0 and just go down. So 0.2 width times point. So hold on, let me double check this. So it's gonna go from 0 to height times 0.2, which will take me kind of down to here, and then I want to go from that to something like width, yeah, width times 0.2 height. So I think that this pattern is going to be fairly obvious, and I might do some copy pasting here because I think that we've already kind of seen the pattern. So I think this is going to be 3, this is going to be 4, this is going to be 3, and this is going to be 4. Let's just check that. Yeah, I think that's holding to be true. So maybe let me do more copy pasting for, let's go all the way up to whatever it's going to be, 9 or 10 or so. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I'm going to maybe not draw that very last one just to see what that ends up looking like. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If you're watching this video and maybe you've read through a few more tutorials, you might be yelling, "Hey, this should be a for loop," and you're probably right. But like I said at the very beginning, I'm going to focus on one of the more fundamental lessons, which is using variables. And so this is kind of for folks who haven't seen for loops yet. So this might not be how I would actually write this code, but just for kind of practice purposes, I think it's a reasonable thing to do here. So anyway, so this video might end up being pretty short because that's already pretty dang close to what I wanted. It's got the sort of pattern from this corner down to this corner. I'm thinking about maybe starting it up here. That might make things a little weird. So this would be like 0 would go down to 0.1. Let me just kind of change that to, let me change this to time 0, which will be 0. Let's just see what that looks like. Yeah, I think that actually looks a little cooler. So, man, this might end up being a lot of me tinkering around with arguments, which I don't really like, but let's just see what it looks like. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm starting up here and I'm going down here, and then what I might end up doing is one more, which is 0 height times 0.9, and then that will go to width times 1, which is just width. So yeah, I think that's reasonable. So it ends up being, what, 10 lines? 0, yeah, 10 lines, which I think actually makes sense. So that's not bad. I'm going to change this to 0 because multiplying by 0 is kind of silly, so nothing should change. So I've got my pattern here. I can even kind of compare it, and dang, that's pretty close. So from here, it's kind of you know, the joy of tinkering, and there's a few things that I generally always do. One, I'm going to change this background to be darker, and maybe I'll change the stroke to be like white. That's pretty futuristic. I like that. Maybe I'll change it to be like green, so RGB. That's even more futuristic. You know, you can maybe picture that this is like a 1980s science fiction movie, and this is like on a screen to show where the enemy spaceship is or something. So let me maybe make the lines a little bit thicker while I'm here. Yeah, I like this. This is cool. Yeah, maybe 4 is just a little too thick. Maybe around 3. And before I start tinkering too much, I think that maybe I should check something, and that is, so I've used width and height here, and the beauty of that, or the payoff of that, is that I can change these, and my drawing should still work. So I'm going to make it only 200 wide, but still 400 tall, and I should still see that kind of pattern. And I do. So it'll stretch and scrunch to sort of fit the boundaries that you give it, the size that you give it. So let's go the other way. Let's make it really wide. And yeah, you see that because I've used these multipliers, these decimals, no matter what the width is, I've still got width times 0.1, width times 0.2, times 0.3, times 0.4, and so on. So that's working pretty well already. Let me maybe change this back to a square just to get something going. And yeah, I like that. I'm kind of tempted to maybe go the other way and maybe do the other corner while I'm here. And since this is already pretty quick, pretty done, I think I'm actually going to do that. So this will be very similar, but it's going to start in sort of this corner. So, oh man, I maybe should have drawn this ahead of time, but I kind of expected this part to take a little bit longer. So let me think about how I want to orient this. So I started in 0, 0. That was here. So what do I want to do? Where's my first line going to be? My first line is going to be, let's say, from here, which is width times 0.9 and 0 height, down to width and height times 0.9. Something about that seems off, but let's just see. No, I think that's probably right. So I mean, this could just end up going the other way. Let me maybe draw 2 more just to see if the pattern holds. 8, 7 maybe, and 7 maybe. And yeah, don't you know it, that actually looks like that's going to work out. So 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, maybe 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I might end up doing a 0, but we'll see. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, I think that looks pretty cool. I think I will end up doing a 0 though. So let me do one more, and this is going to be width times 0, which is just going to be 0. So it's going to start from here and go where? No, that doesn't make sense because that would be 0, 0. What am I missing? Oh, I think, so similar to how these are 1 off, like this is 0.1 and 0.2, I think maybe I wanted to make these 1 off as well, so it's not quite a 1-to-1 mapping. It's not 0.9 to 0.9, it's actually going to be, what is it, 0.9 to all the way down, right? So this is going to be height, and then this will be, you know, increase these all by 1, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. So let me comment this line I'm working on out just to see if that kind of holds, and I think it does. And then my last one will be from this corner down here to 0.1. So that makes sense to me. So it goes from 0, 0 to width and then height times 0.1. And again, maybe this could be a for loop, but if you haven't seen for loops, then this is totally fine. This will work. And yeah, I'm into that, man. That looks cool. Maybe now it's like kind of like a science fiction-y, computery demon eye. I kind of want to just put an eye in there just for fun. You know what? Why not? What is that going to be? That's going to be width over 2 or times 0.5. Same difference. And let's give it a size of maybe 100. And let me just see what this looks like. I kind of like this. That's funny. No fill, maybe. And that's funny. I like that. Maybe a fill of green too. RGB. You know, there we've got our sort of digital dragon eye or something. Yeah, whatever. I'm into that. Maybe just make it black again. Yeah, I mean, I think that looks cool. You could probably play with a different shape in the center here, just to have a different kind of focus in your little art. Like here's the border, and then maybe there's something cool in the middle. But I kind of maybe like it without it. Or there's maybe one other thing I want to play with. Yeah, I like that actually. So you could do something like draw some text in here. So I'm always bad at guessing at where text is going to show up. Actually, let me take out myself and say, let's say text align center. So I won't have to calculate where text should be. So I'm going to say, I don't know, let's just say happy coding maybe. Make it a logo of some kind and then put it right in the middle. You know, you could play with the text size, maybe text size, something like, I don't know, 24, I think, might be a little bigger. Yeah, you know, there's your futuristic logo for happy coding. I might actually just post this. That's really funny. That's cute. I might make it bigger. It's probably a little too big. You know, I could fiddle with this, but I kind of like this as is. I'm actually going to save this because I really like that. Anyway, the other thing I might play with is colors. So there's a few things I could do. Let's see. Let me check the time. Let me make sure this stays under. Oh yeah, we're only at 14. I give myself up until a half hour, I guess. But you know, this kind of accomplishes the goal that I set out to do, and it demonstrates the concept that I wanted to demonstrate. You know, we're using the variables here, and that lets us make sure that no matter what size our window is, that our design will scale and it'll work no matter what size it is. And you know, if you're already feeling a little bit overwhelmed, or if you feel like this is at a good level, feel free to stop the video here or pause the video, or save it for later. But I'm gonna maybe play around just a little bit more, and if the rest of it doesn't seem interesting to you, that's totally fine. But I'm going to give myself maybe 15 minutes to noodle. So one thing that I want to play with right away is, like, instead of making them all green, I guess I'm going to maybe make this one green. I might end up commenting that section out in a second, but what I want to do is play around with maybe like a rainbow effect, and I could look up all of the RGB values for rainbow, like Roy G. Biv, but just for like playing around, another thing you can do is just straight up give P5 the name of the color, and it'll figure it out. It'll figure it out through through HTML color codes, I think, or color, whatever they're called, color names. So instead of me looking everything up, I'm just going to make it use this text representation. So red, orange, yellow, green, oh my god, green. I can't type today. Stroke, or Roy G, blue, Biv. And I'm going to run out of rainbow colors, but we'll see what I do here. Indigo, maybe. And then violet, I'm not sure if it's violet or purple. I don't know if it actually matters, but we'll find out. Violet, maybe. And then, just for fun, let's just kind of keep it. Let's just see where this took us. And yeah, I mean, other than these three things ending up being, I guess that's violet. I don't hate that. Maybe I'll make it come back around. Maybe I'll say stroke indigo. I could also maybe take some of these out, but these point ones are kind of easy to work with. So maybe go back to blue and maybe end on a stroke of what was before blue, green. So it kind of goes up the rainbow and then comes back down a little bit. Maybe, I could go either way, honestly. Yeah, I mean, maybe. I kind of actually prefer the green now that I'm looking at it, but I think there's room to play, and I think that might end up looking kind of neat if you tried, a little bit harder. Another thing I might do is Roy G. Biv. So like blue, indigo, violet, they kind of end up looking the same. So maybe I'll start going back here. So this goes to green, the blue, green. This is yellow, this is orange. Oh man, I wish I had ended on red. Orange. So I could maybe cut out, I guess I can't really cut out anything, but whatever. Let's just see what that looks like. Yeah, whatever. I'm not gonna waste too much time on this, but you get it. You could play with different colors. While I'm here, another thing that occurs to me is playing with like shapes. So right now I have lines going from 0 to 0. I could pretty easily turn these into triangles. Let me maybe save this somewhere down here. It's a little bit messy, but I'm pretty sure I'm not going to stick with triangles, especially with the code I posted at the very end. But just for fun, let's maybe go, so it goes from 0, 0, and then I'm going to go down here, which is what, 0 width. So I'm going to start everything at 0 width, and I'm going to make that a triangle. So now I've got a triangle from 0, wait, it's not 0 width, it's 0 height. So 0 height up to 0, 0, then down to width times 0.1 height. And let me just run that. So I should see a triangle. Yeah, I do. I'm going to change the fill in a second, but for now, yeah, I think that works. So let me just check something. I want to be able to have some opacity in a second. So can I do this? Will this let me, or is this illegal? That's illegal. That's going to break. Yeah, whatever. We'll figure it out in a second. So actually, no, let me try to figure this out now. Fill. So I could do something like RGB alpha, something like that, but then I'm gonna have to try to guess at all these fills down there. I wanted to do like a rainbow triangle with like some opacity so you could see the colors kind of add up to each other. That's going to take me forever to figure out the RGB values though. So maybe just let me try to do it all in green. Or all in red, you know, all in blue, you know, all in one color instead of trying to make it all combined, just to show you the effect I was going for. So let me real quick make all these triangles and then add the 0 height coordinate to it. And then I need 0 height because I need this you know, third coordinate, this third point. So it's no longer a line, now it's a triangle. And I know watching me copy paste is probably not the most exciting thing. I guess I should probably work on my crowd work, tell you a joke or something, but I can't talk and type at the same time, so you're out of luck. Anyway, hopefully I haven't made any typos. Well, there, I just did, but hopefully I haven't made any typos in my copy paste, and this will do something. It sure did something. I don't know if that's what I expected or not, but I mean, I guess it is. I guess this this opacity is quite a bit high, so let's change it down to like 10 or something. That's too low maybe, so maybe 20. But you can start to see what I'm going for, I think, where you know, this square is quite a bit brighter than, say, this square or whatever that polygon is. So maybe let me take it, let me get the stroke to something. So let me do the same thing, 255, 0, 0, 50 to get those lines out of the way. And yeah, there you go. There's more what I'm talking about. So you have this sort of fading effect based on drawing 10 or so triangles with different opacities, right? They all have the same opacity, but the opacities kind of stack. So this is, you know, very bright red, and this is pretty dark. And we can play with this number a little bit to, you know, change the effect. Now it's even darker as it goes further away from the bottom left corner. And you know, you can play with that. I think that kind of looks pretty cool. Maybe make it a little bigger. Yeah, you can start to see like it's almost like a 3D effect, but you know, all we've done is draw a bunch of triangles. And you know, I think that looks pretty cool. But I think as I post this, I think I'm going to actually stick with the simpler version that just draws a green line. But I mean, this is what I came here to do today, so I think I'm pretty happy. What we've done is we've used the width and height variables to draw a bunch of lines or draw a bunch of triangles, and they add up to this interesting pattern, whether you're doing just lines and it kind of does this curvy thing, or if you're doing triangles and it does this kind of 3D fading effect. And you can play with other things like you know, put something here in the middle, make that interesting, or play with different colors in here. You could make your lines different colors. If you're feeling especially bold, you could try to make like each individual square a different color. You could animate it. Once you get to animation, you can refactor this code to use a for loop as you get to for loops. So, you know, hopefully this serves as an interesting baseline that you could play with and do a lot of interesting things. But that's about as far as I want to take it today. So I'm going to call this done. I'll probably change this back to green, like I said, when I post it. But if you want the code, you know, here it is. It's just a bunch of triangles. Cool. So that's it for me. As always, thanks for watching. And if you have questions or want to say hi, come to happycoding.io. I would love to talk to you. And other than that, you know, have a great day, and as always, of course, happy coding.